care and repair, it was contacted and they came and had a little chat to me of what I wanted, and I said, well, I needed a toilet in downstairs, because in a couple of years' time perhaps I won't be able to climb up the stairs to go to the toilet or the shower. So they're going to build me a room in here, which is going to be a walk-in shower, a toilet, a wash basin and a heater, so that I'll be able to just come out here and use the facilities. Yeah. But they're going to use most of this room, they're building a room within a room. That's how they described it to me.
Describe to me what this room looked like a few weeks ago. Yes, before.
Oh, every cupboard, every cabinet was full. Most of it was flower arranging stuff, because I taught flower arranging and I belonged to 2 flower clubs. So most of it was, this was built as a utility room, not as a conservatory. It was built as a utility room because I used to do all my flowers out here, and so most of it were just all the cupboards were full of flower arranging stuff, containers and everything was here. It was full.
So you knew that you wanted to have some bathroom facilities downstairs.
Yes.
What happened when they said that you needed to get rid of lots of things?
Panic. Terror. Absolute terror. To think that for 40 years I'd been collecting, and now all of a sudden it's all got to go. And panic, anxiety, not sleeping, because, well, part of your life is going.
Yeah.
But I don't do flowers anymore, so it had to go. It all had to go.
How long did you do the flower arranging for?
Oh, I belonged to the flower club since the 60s.
Yes, it's a massive part of your life.
Oh
really.
yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
I think when I came along to the first visit, you were both pretty much ready to get started on the first visit, really, with Rob.
Yeah.
And it was quite amazing because you cleared a couple of the cupboards within that first visit, and ideally we don't encourage the volunteers to start that first visit actually, so it was quite nice.
I couldn't believe how much he achieved in such a short space of time. You know, I mean, he was like a whirlwind here, you know, but asked me all the time, where do you want this to go? Where do you want that to go? Yeah. You know, all the way he was asking me, you know, will you need that? No. Do you want this? No. Just let it go. So I wanted all of it to be gone.
If someone, a friend of yours or a relative, perhaps had to go through this same process, how would you describe it to them?
Well, not to worry, because you've got the backing of Catherine's group and the care and repair. It's a sort of all together, isn't it? You know, if I had any problems, I would just ring Catherine and say, you know, this is happening, that's happening, and she would come and sort it out for me.
So we need to talk about the attic project. So what are the things we need to say about it? I suppose we need to say that the big lottery are funding it for 3 years, and we got funding in 2017 in September. Obviously you work for VCS, so you can say a bit more about what they do.
VCS do a lot of supported volunteering projects.
So I guess that's where a lot of the reminiscence work sort of came from, is that kind of heritage work that VCS have done.
There's a lot of history and reminiscence opportunities for going through people's homes and talking about the items that they need to help declutter.
Yeah, and I guess because that's not always an easy thing for people to do, to when we accumulate so much possessions and stuff, how we kind of start to go through all those things can be difficult. So that's, you know, makes the attic project a much kind of easier, more kind of ethical way to be able to go through that process, I suppose, as well.
Yeah,
the volunteers will do more than that in the future as well, won't they, really, with potentially sort of oral history or digital stories and things.
Yeah, definitely. We've started doing a bit more of oral history, but we are going to start branching out on how to capture these memories when we do it and be able to give it back to the clients once we've gone through the items. So tell me a little bit more about Care and Repair. You can give me a bit more of an idea of what Care and Repair do.
Yeah, so obviously Care and Repair Cymru are leading the attic project, and Care and Repair Cardiff and Vale and Newport Care and Repair are also partners as well. And Care and Repair helps older people to live more independently in their home. So where people need repairs, adaptations, you know, handrails, stair lifts, maybe they need a new boiler for heating. Care and Repair work with people, tailor their services, always keep the client at the centre and make sure people can live independently at home for longer, really. Part of the attic project comes in too as well, because often our caseworkers were finding that when they were wanting to make an adaptation in the home, maybe install a stair lift, that they weren't able to, just because people had too much sort of stuff or possessions in the way, which is something I'm sure we can all relate to as well. But there wasn't really any services that kind of filled that sort of gap, really, and could help people to work through, sort through those possessions, decide what to do with them as well. And one of the key things that we, you know, also try to do with the attic project is to make sure that possessions and items are going somewhere that's good for the environment as well. So we're, you know, reducing our impact on the environment. More things are being donated to places where they're useful. Things are getting reused, things are getting recycled, and it's not just that everything's going to landfill as well.
So if I needed help with making space in the home, what would the client need to do?
They need to get in touch with Care and Repair, and then once they did that, our specialist caseworker would go and visit them in their home. They would look at what their needs were in the home, or whether they needed any support with things like anything to prevent falls, or any adaptations and repair that would make the home more safe and more comfortable to live in, and decide what they want to do with different things, or maybe do a bit of reminiscence. Then obviously a volunteer would be needed, so they would get in touch with you then, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think with the volunteers needed, then carers would make a referral on to myself, and then I would go out and I'd speak to the individual and see when volunteers are available to help them, and work out a plan to help them with going through the items and what kind of reminiscence they might be interested in doing throughout the project, really.
Having been part of this project for some time, I've just written down what it meant to me, and if you don't mind, I'll just read it through. Having been part of the new scheme, I can only say how grateful I am for its existence. As I have got older and I live alone, I struggle to do things that in the past I found easy. Also, I find my confidence less as I have aged. This scheme has been excellent. My volunteer, Rob, has been so helpful. No task was too much trouble for him. I am at a loss for words to say how he has helped me. I could not have done this work without his help, reassuring me all the way that everything would be all right. And sometimes I didn't believe it, but and I thank Catherine and all involved with this scheme.